These pictures were taken with a 14-year-old camera. I think it's almost 14 years now, if not 15. A Canon EOS, and I'll put a timestamp of the unboxing I did of it. I say unboxing because I bought it from a guy who had it for many years and never used it. So I have the box almost new, and the camera was never used. Right, so I'll start off with these pictures. And for this shot I used, I think it was f14. Yeah, f14. Maybe I could have, now in retrospect, stopped down the aperture even more to get better sun stars and use a longer exposure time so it wouldn't be too black. But I had a polarizing filter on here, which didn't seem to cut down the light too much, at least not according to the meter that was there. I also wished I could have gotten these people here on the docks because I thought it was a cool shot at the time when I was looking to the viewfinder. Unfortunately, the viewfinder is not a digital viewfinder on that camera. It's an optical viewfinder. I think that's what they call it. So what you're basically looking through a glass instead of a representation of what the sensor is going to see. All right, so I kind of like how this looks already. Let me drop the shadows back. I like how that looks already. I really do. I wish I could have just gotten, you know what I could have done? I could have used a graduated ND filter to darken the sky and leave the rest of the shot exposed properly. I think that would have been a good idea. I've been thinking about how I'm going to incorporate that into this hobby, but we'll see. All right, so that's not a bad shot at all. I kind of like the reflection of the sun in the pond, and the sky is not blown out. I like how that looks. All right, this one's not too bad. I don't think it's framed for anything interesting except the reflection of the power lines. So I deliberately tried not to include the power lines that were over here, and I thought it was kind of interesting that they were reflected here. So it's almost like the pond is revealing more than I wanted it to. In retrospect, I wished I had zoomed in more on one of these flowers or one of these bits of grass here. I think that would have been a better picture, I think, because it's not clear what the subject is. But just remember, this is a 14-year-old camera, so I still think that's good quality. I still think, not a good picture, but a good quality photo. All right, this one, and by the way, the lens selection is, I think it's a kit lens. It's a 17 to 85, and it's a macro type lens. Now the terrible thing, well, not terrible thing, the unfortunate thing about this is that the screen doesn't flip up. So this insect here was close to the ground, so I had to guess where it was aiming. Otherwise I'd have to lay on the ground to get it. And I did that for another shot coming up of this turtle here. So let me see if I can edit this. Let me use auto setting first. Oh, that looks amazing. Okay, amazing isn't it might be too strong of a term, but it looks cool. For a 14-year-old camera, that's pretty cool. When we first, my kid and I were walking through the park, when we first saw these flying around, we thought they were moths because when the wings spread out, it had different colors on it like a moth. So it might be a camouflage thing, I don't know. But it also has, looks like it only has 2 legs on each side, and that's the belly of it, I think. No, that might be another leg under here that allows it to jump. But this thing can jump, fly, and run. It's incredible. Incredible. I think that's a good shot. Maybe if, let me see if I could put a mask around just the subject. Oh, nope, it's gonna do the whole thing. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad actually. It's not bad. That's a good shot. I like that actually. I like that. All right, moving on. This little spider here. No, this was quite difficult to get. I tried it twice. For the one reason, it has very few autofocus points on this camera, and like I said, I had to guess where it is kind of because I didn't want to lay on the ground. But I still think that's not a bad shot there at all. Not a bad shot. not a bad shot at all. I could raise the exposure a little bit, maybe like that. That'd be cool. And I wished I could, if I try to put a mask on here, use the, no, it's not gonna work. I wish I could isolate the spider more, because right now it looks like it's cluttered. Or if the spider was a different color altogether, say black or something, it would stand out. But now it looks quite camouflaged in with the bits of grass. I still think it's a cool picture. And this might be my most interesting find, because this was tiny, by the way, maybe the size of a quarter. Tiny turtle. You can tell by you can see the surrounding leaves, surrounding flowers, how small they are. And this little bugger, it looked like it had a long tail, but it looked like it had spikes or raised ridges on its back. And I looked it up, and I think this might be a snapping turtle. I'm not sure, but I thought it was so cool to look at. Let me go back and do undo. So that's what it looks like without any editing. If I edit that, that looks pretty cool already. Let's raise the exposure. Let me try to add some green in here. Let me add some green just to make it a little more saturated. That's good. What about the purple flower? Not a lot of the purple flower, but let's add that anyways. And then let's do some contrasts. And then I actually wouldn't do much else with that. Let me drop the shadows back and drop the blacks. I kind of like that. Okay. Now, in retrospect, I wish I had gotten less of the surrounding bushes and framed it kind of like that. Let's see how that looks. I think that would have been better. So before and now after. I think that would have been better. So let's see the before and after. That's the original, and that's the after. Yeah, I could even crop in some more. Maybe like that. Yeah, maybe like that, I think. Yeah, I think that's good. For a 17-year-old camera, that's not too bad. Not too bad. I actually laid down for this one. It's a similar shot, so I won't edit the same shot. It's the same shot, and I don't think, maybe this one's marginally sharper. The shell here is not as sharp, and here it's a little bit sharper, but I don't think it changed the quality of the picture at all. It's the same angle. All right. This one let me delete this picture. So this one I am also proud of, because this is a macro lens. So I was really close to it. I got these insects here on this yellow flower. I thought it was a nice contrast with the green, the brown of the insect, and the yellow of this flower. So let me try to edit that right away. Okay, that's not too bad at all. Let's raise the exposure, maybe like that, increase the contrast. Drop the shadows a little bit. All right, in retrospect, what I could have done differently is, I don't know if I needed all of this around the insect. I could even crop in tighter. Now, if I do that, it's gonna be not as sharp. Actually, that's not too bad. That's a better shot though, I think. Oh my God, wait a second. It looks like there are tiny bugs in here too. I did not even notice that. I did not notice that at all. Look at that bugger right there. Tiny little bugs in here. Jesus. Ay, 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 ay. All right, so are there water droplets on the back of this? No. So maybe these are just parents, and their babies are in the my skin is itching a little bit, but maybe their parents and their little babies hanging out in these flowers here. That's pretty cool. All right, this one was of my cat I had, and she was just chilling in the sun, and I liked how she was kind of framed by the sunlight coming through the window. She doesn't stay there. As soon as I go on the ground, she comes over. So I had to hurry up and get this shot. No, I don't like what the auto setting does for this, because it took away from the dramatic effect of the shadow. And I think with the shadows raised, it's too distracting. So you can now look, you start to look at the pillow and so on and so forth. So I would drop this back, kind of like that. So the focus is on her. I wished I had maybe taken the picture from a different angle. Yeah, maybe down lower and to the right. All right, this one, she was sitting on the couch and looking right at me. And I just grabbed the picture. I like this one because of the reflection of the sun through the window onto the top of the chair. If I use the auto setting, it's going to raise the shadows. I don't like that at all. So let me keep it like this. Keep it like this. She's a cute cat, boy. And just remember, this is a 14-year-old camera, man. 14-year-old, that's awesome. 14-year-old chromatic aberration. You can see it with the purple fringing there. Let me see if I could fix that a little bit. Remove chromatic aberration. Does it work? Nah. Doesn't see a difference. Does not see a difference at all. Does not see a difference. Does it? Okay, make. Let's do Canon. Oh, okay. Let's see if that works. A little bit. Look right here. Let me see. It's a little bit, but not much. Not a bad shot. All right. This one was, I liked how the sun was coming through the bushes here. The bushes acted like a filter, a makeshift filter. But look at the noise in the image. That might be a preference for some people. I don't particularly like it. In any case, let me see what the auto setting does. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. All right, on to the next one. I took two similar shots with this, and I preferred this one because it was focused better on the flower, I think. And I wouldn't change much because I think it's clear what the focus of the shot is from this picture. Maybe, let me try to crop it in and see what the difference is if I do it like this. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Let me use the auto setting, see what that does. That's not too bad. Turn the whites down a little bit. It's not too bad at all. And the last one, okay, it missed focus, all kinds of things wrong with it. I was about to delete it, except it looks like an animal. It does look like an animal. Might be clear to a lot of people. I see a horse. That will be its head, that's its mane, that's its front leg, that's its body. That's what I see, just by chance. I don't think that's why I took the picture, because I think that's the first time I saw any resemblance to an animal, was when I was about to delete it just now. But that's my lot with this 14-year-old camera. All right, so up next I'll put the unboxing of the camera itself. It's a Canon EOS 20D, and it's in pristine condition. The owner bought it and didn't even use it. The first time it got used was when I unboxed it to make sure it was still working. And it came with two lenses. This is a 75-300 and a 17-85. It's not going to rival the modern cameras because it's only a 8.2 megapixel sensor. What I'm looking forward to is going back to basics as far as how to adjust the settings on the camera. So let's take a look inside. You won't believe how pristine this is. Even the box is still pristine. And this was released 2004. All the cables are still here. It had a video out cable, but you have to get a converter to get that to display. Now this does not take video. It just shows you what's on the screen. And they say video out. It's kind of a misnomer. And the camera strap is still in its original packaging from 2004. Now the retail price back then was $1,200. $1,499, $1,499 actually, $1,499 back then. And so this little thing here, which is neat, covers the eyepiece of the camera. And this is actually not too bad of a quality. I considered selling it again, but I think I'll just keep it just for practice. Put these aside. All the manuals are still in here, just like it wasn't touched. And a bunch of CDs. I don't even have a CD player to try this stuff. But all the manuals are still in here. All the CDs. Looks like it has, not even sure what that is. But there's a Photoshop Elements 2.0. That's crazy. And yeah, a bunch of stuff. All right, let's put that out the way. There's bags that I emptied before. This is a charger for the battery. Look at that bugger. Looks brand new. 0, 50, 75, 100. Looks brand new. And the camera. Now I unpacked this before. I just put it back in here for effect. Nothing else in this box. But here it is. That is it in all its glory. Has a display at the top, so you can see all the settings. And tiny calculator-like screen at the back. You can adjust the settings here like you would on regular cameras, manual, the fake modes like portrait and so on, aperture control and so on and so forth. There's a custom button at least. I think it looks fantastic. It's pristine. 2 other buttons here. This is for the flash. On this side is a USB, a mini USB, I think you call this one, and video out. One of these is for the remote and one of these is for flash sync. Under here we have the tripod attachment, looks like a 1/4-20. And then this is the battery compartment. This battery, it looks like it just has a AA tuck in a case. I'm not sure, but this is what the battery looks like. And over here is the memory card. No, this is what they call a compact flash memory card. And the max this could take at the time, I think they said 8 gigs of memory. I did buy a 16 because I read somewhere where it can take a 16, but when I put it in, I don't know if the camera did it or this actually wasn't an 8 by mistake, but it only read 8 gigs available. Let's take a look at the sensor. And that is it. That's the mirror in here. If you can see that. You can see the mirror. Needs a little cleaning. I think I'll clean it before. I think I'll clean it before I take it out to shoot. Now let's compare the size of this with today's cameras. All right, so here is the 6600. That's the A7R3. So it's considerably bigger. But if you compare it with a full frame, not that much bigger. The flash makes it look like it's big, but it's not that much bigger. I guess the flange is a little bit, there's a big distance here, mostly because it has to make space for the mirror. And this is mirrorless. But this is actually, it feels the same weight. I mean, it could tell you grams all day, but how it feels the same to me. But this also has a cage on it. Let's compare the screen size. Now this is not an attempt to replace. It's not going to replace or even compare to modern cameras. But look at the size of the screen, and all of this is not real estate, you know. It's just this little bit right here. This real estate versus this camera that has all this real estate. And the EVF is about the same size. It's not going to be the same quality. This only has 9 autofocus points that you can see through here. Let's take a look at the lenses. The first one we'll take a look at is (17 to 85) variable aperture f4 to 5.6. Now that looks beautiful to me. Doesn't do a whole heap. Now this one does have image stabilizer. 2004. From 2004 it has image stabilizer, which is incredible, I think. That's the glass back there. And that's the glass back here. Made in Japan. And it has a 67mm filter thread, which means I probably have step-up rings I could use with this. Cool. Let's see how it looks on the camera. I think that looks pretty cool. Looks more serious than it is. Looks like it looks like it can do way more than it can do. It only takes pictures. Now on the lens there is, if you can see that, like a meter that tells you how far you're focusing. That's infinity, and that's the closest focusing distance for this lens. So you can do macro shots with this, so-called macro shots. And then there's an autofocus manual switch, and you can turn the stabilizer on or off. There's no focus hold on this lens. All right, let's take a look at the other one. And this one does not have image stabilization. Does not, but it's 75 to 300, which is not terrible. But it's at its widest is f4. So it's not going to let in a whole lot of light. But you can imagine with a body that doesn't have image stabilization and your hand moving around, a lot of the shots are going to be blurry. It's not going to be as sharp as your stabilized lenses. And it opens up a considerable amount. That's a 75 to 300. Let's take a look at the Sony lens with a similar range. 18 to 135. This is more like it's a 70 to 350. Let's compare that without the hood. All right, so it's a little bit bigger, I think. But just about the same size. Just about the same size. And in theory, the old one opens wider than this one. See how this looks on the camera. Man, look how pristine this looks. Look how pristine that looks. That looks incredible. Incredible. In the menu, we don't have a lot of options here. Don't have a lot of options. But you can do red eye, turn the beep off, shoot without card, that kind of stuff, the basic things. And what else can we do? I think you can do black and white straight from camera. You can adjust the white balance, the typical stuff, but it's not going to have pixel shift or anything modern like that. But the proof is in the pudding, so we'll just take some pictures and see what we can do
out in the field. You can illuminate. Let me see how much charge I have. Okay, looks like it's fully charged still. You're gonna press this button to illuminate the little LCD dial up here. White balance, I'm gonna leave it auto. And then exposure compensation or metering, I'm gonna leave that to multi. All right.